Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about Warrior 3, otherwise known in other traditions as balancing stick. Okay, so this posture has a lot to offer. It revs the heart rate, it makes you work on your balance, and it creates quite a bit of strength in the body. So you're building strength with this posture if you're working the right way. So a couple of things to consider when you're doing this posture. Everything always has to be pulled in this posture. There could be quite a bit of stress on the low spine in this posture if we're just letting the belly go. So if the abdominal wall is not engaged in this posture, then think about starting to engage that abdominal wall. You'll get so much more out of it. So you'll often hear the teacher say, close your ribs. That's another way, and a good sign to know that you should be pulling everything into the center line. So pulling everything in as much as you can into the center line for this posture, so that any kind of tenderness that you might be experiencing in the low spine, or if you had injury there, this is starting to help heal it instead of making it feel like because we're not engaging the core muscles at the front, the abdominal wall. All right, so when you're coming into this posture, please make sure everything is super pulled in. The arms come over the head. You might be approaching it that way. Maybe you're stepping into the posture. Possibly you are just coming down into it. So you're coming down into the posture, and as I come down, I'm thinking, can I engage my ribs? Can I close my ribs more? Can I engage my abdominal wall more? Can I stretch forward even more with the arms, press the arms into the ears, and can I point the toe back even more? So there's a lot happening, a lot of concentration happens in this posture when you're doing it the right way. So please make sure, if the abdominal wall, let me just push up my lunch for you. If my abdominal wall is just hanging there, it's like taking 5 to 10 pounds of all your organs, all the water, anything that you've eaten that day, and gravity is pulling it down, and it's putting quite a bit of stress on the low spine. So, instead of just coming down, hanging on and holding on for dear life and waiting for the teacher to let you out, think about really engaging that abdominal wall so that you are engaging and gaining core strength while you're in the posture. Now, another thing that happens quite often in this posture, especially if you have a dance or gymnastic background, is that the hip flares up of the leg that's in the air. So the hips are no longer square. And if you have that kind of background, you can correct it, but you might not be able to correct it from here. So you might come into this, and then the hip naturally flares up to create that pretty line that you worked so hard for when you were in those dance and gymnastic classes. And now you come to yoga and we say, make sure the hips are square, and the reasoning for that is just so that you can engage the abdominal wall, because if the hip starts flaring up, something else is happening in the posture, and the intensity that you can feel through the abdominal wall is lost. So we're going to keep the ribs closed. We're going to keep everything super tight through here. You're going to come up, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you do flare the hip out. So you're going to come into the posture, and I want you to watch the hip of the leg that's lifting in the air. The hip is starting to turn out and face you, and the kneecap is starting to face forward, and it's getting hard to hold on to, actually. So from here, in the flared hip, you can correct it. You can move the knee so it points to the floor. Now, it might take some time for you to find that, but I do recommend that you really work for that. So if you take a picture of yourself in this posture and you see, those hips are not in line, then start thinking about, it feels like a drop of the hip, not really that's the way I would probably say it to a student, but what the actual motion feels like is I'm turning the knee to face the floor. All right, so then I can achieve 2 hips in one line. Another common thing that I often see in this posture is we start to put a back bend into this posture instead of letting it be the forward bend that it is. So you come in to the posture and you really pull the ribs forward. So already you can see my spine is super bendy, which means if the back is bending, I'm not going to be able to engage the abdominal wall here for the posture. Though if I was looking forward into a mirror, you know, I bet it would look right. So from the side, you can see there is that back bend happening. So what happens then when you come to the posture, the abs aren't engaged and the arms are pointing up to the corner of the room, so the corner ceiling of the room, and there's that back bend. The shoulders are pulling together way more than they should. So instead, once again, it's all about that core. It's all about pulling the ribs in, because if you get that part of the posture, if you just have that moment to breathe in and think that's what I'm going to try to do, everything's going to come into alignment quite a bit more, with quite a bit more ease. So I hope that this helps. I hope that you start taking the back bend out of the posture. The hips start to be square. Your abdominal wall is engaged. You take the pressure off of the low spine while you're in the posture, and then you really start to find the freedom and the balance in this one. If you have any questions, just send them my way, either through email or DM me through any of the social media channels, or you can always comment below on the YouTube page where this is posted. I hope you have a great day and that we'll meet on the mat someday soon. Namaste.